I'm finally ready to share with you a lot of the changes that are coming up for me. And I think I mentioned one a few videos back that we are going to be moving. So my husband and I have to move out of our current rental. And up until recently, we didn't have an official handle on where we were going to be moving. And so, as you all probably know, in today's economy and the way things are, it's really hard to find a place that is affordable. So thankfully, we finally have a place that we're going to be moving into. Now, the tricky part about it is there is a slight possibility that we'll only be able to be there until the fall, but I don't know. Like, I guess I'm just having to embrace the unknown. I'm grateful that we have a place to move into. The new place will require a major downsizing of our items. We maybe will use like a storage unit for some of our stuff, but a lot of my time recently has been given to thinking about what types of things do we want to keep and what types of things do we want to give away. So it's been an interesting process of like going through the boxes of storage. Like, I opened up a box full of my stuffed animals from my childhood that have come with me since I was like probably 4, 3. Like, there's some stuffed animals that have been traveling with me across the country for many years. So it was very special to open up a box that I don't think I've looked at the contents for like almost 10 years. I don't know, but I opened up a box and it was like, I was like, oh, my friends. It was like my teddy bears, my stuffed dogs, my Cabbage Patch Kid, my popple, yellow popple. Anyone? What was your favorite popple? Do you know about popples? You should Google popples. They're the best. So, did you have a popple? And if so, please tell me in the comments which one you had or have. I have the yellow popple. I forget its name, but it's mostly yellow. And I think my sister had the purple one with like pink hair. So I found that. I found Rainbow Bright and Starlight and I forget the little friend. But so I'm running into, my Barbies, my Rose Petal doll that's not Rose Petal, but she is the daffodil one. And oh my goodness, so many beautiful gems up in storage. Like, it was really, I don't know, maybe you could call it bittersweet because it was so sweet to see all these little friends up there waiting for me in storage that I have invested so much of my childhood years into like playing with them, loving them, creating stories for them, imagining with them, treating them like they're real with the stuffed animals. So it was really like sweet to see. It almost felt like proof that all my memories from childhood are real. Like, that sounds weird because I have photographs, I have my actual memories, but it's like, I don't know, it almost felt like time travel or just this weird thing to see these souvenirs from my childhood that are like with me in a completely, like, the other side of the country 40 years later, and there's this teddy bear or this Barbie, or it was a really cool experience to be like, you're still here, I love you. And then this is when I lost it. I found a music box, my childhood music box. It's actually a box. I think you could put like jewelry in it. But I lifted the lid. I found it in a box and I lifted the lid and it just automatically started playing the song that I listened to all throughout my childhood. And I was just like, I cried. I'm not ashamed. It's like, okay, this is too much, but like in a good way, kind of. All I can describe it as like bittersweet. So all that to say, a lot of time is going towards going through things in storage, looking at what we can give away. There were some things are just too sentimental. My teddy bears, all my stuffed dogs, Popple, all stayed with me. But it's an interesting process to go through your belongings and be like, oh, somebody else could really get a lot of joy out of this. So I easily do that with books, but Yeah, so it's an interesting process. Books and clothes, I can very easily just be like, oh, someone else might love this. Let's give this away. So it's an interesting process. So that's one update, is that we know where we're moving. It's gonna be in the next, well, I'm not looking at a calendar. I mean, you'll know when you see a different background, but we still have a little bit of time um, before the move. So yeah, so that's one of the updates, is that we are going to be moving, and now we know where we're moving, and thankfully it's not too far away. But then there's the whole unknowns of like, how long can we be here? Is someone else going to need to move in? There's that unknown. So it should be interesting to see how that goes. And with the downsized space, should be interesting. But you know, life is an adventure, and we're on it. um, with all the unknowns and with some changes at my current job coming up, some changes to the job plus the total unknown of like, how long will we be living where we can live? Well, at first it was like, where are we going to live? And then it was like, how long will we, now it's like, how long will we get to live there? So there's just so many unknowns plus some changes happening. So for that reason, I decided that I am going to take a sabbatical from work, is that what you call it? But I think once we find out how long we can be in our place that we're moving, then I'll think of like, if we can stay there however long we want, then I'll probably start looking for other jobs. But again, I don't know when that will be, or we'll see. All of that is up in the air. But anyways, so that's another big change that is happening. So I'm going to be focusing coming up in the next week or two. Wait, what's today? Next week and a half. Then I'll be focusing fully on helping with getting the house ready for the move and all of that, and that whole transition period. So there's a lot of upheaval, a lot of change, a lot of unknowns. But that's the biggest update that I can give you. So that's what I was referencing however many videos ago, when I was like, there's a lot of changes and I can't share all of them right now. Those are the changes I was referencing. And like I said, I wasn't trying to be cryptic or like, follow my journey as I string you along, because I didn't even, like, there were things I didn't even know. Timelines and things, and what was going to be continuing and what wasn't. And it's just, yeah, the theme is up in the air, I guess. Things being up in the air and the unknown. But thankfully, the positive in all of this is we do know where we are moving to by our move out date. So I'm grateful for that, because not everyone can say that in their lives, in the world circumstance right now. So we're grateful for that. So what else was I going to share with you? So I've been packing, like, we've been packing things up, giving some things away. And then, oh yes, so I have been reading this. This ties in with something new I'm doing. It doesn't have to do with this channel or, you know, it's just like personal catching up. So the latest in my life. So I am reading Trevor Noah's memoir, Born a Crime. He wrote this about, I looked it up, I think it was like 10 or 11 years ago. But it's been really interesting. I've always liked Trevor Noah. I love his approach to like, how do you interact with people who believe differently than you? How do you have like civil discussions about either politics or any other beliefs? I really admire the way that he can not make things personal and like a fight, you know, like just the things that I've seen of him either interviewing people or just being interviewed himself or just having discussions with people. I feel like he's really diplomatic. And as with anyone, I don't always 100% agree with every place that he lands on things, but is there anybody really in your life that you 100% agree with every single thing they believe? I don't think so. Like, the world is filled with multitudes, and diversity keeps us all healthy, you know? Let's challenge what we believe and interact and have healthy conversations. So That's why when I came across his memoir, I think was it a used book sale? It was either a used bookstore or like a library sale. I can't remember which one, but I've been wanting to read this for a while. It's been on my shelf. So I'm finally reading it. And so it's been really interesting to learn about his life in South Africa. He shares about his, I'm only that far in. So like 1/4 of the way in, I think you would call that. So right now we're still in his childhood. And he's talking about that. It's very, very interesting. He's had some really intense experiences. I'm like, it's incredible the things that he has been through. But it's fun to hear him in his own words, since he does comedy. He doesn't just do like, I want to check out his podcast. So I was going to say, he doesn't just do a podcast. He is a comedian as well. So I like his lighthearted approach to his own childhood. He describes himself as like, it's shocking. Like, for me, I only have seen him in not recent times, but like the last 10 years or so, seen him on various shows and interviews. And he just comes across as like a very calm, reasonable, thoughtful, logical person. And then he talks about his childhood and you're like, oh my goodness. Like, he even describes himself as like, I was a very destructive child. It's like, you read the things that he did, you're like, wow. It's been interesting to see, like, wow, if you knew him as a kid, would you ever expect him to grow up to be so reasonable, I guess? I mean, I don't know. Of course, I don't know him personally, but the way I have seen him in interviews and, the things he talks about, he seems very reasonable. So it's like, wow, to think of him as such a wild child is kind of hilarious, and is very shocking in some things that he shares. Like, oh my goodness. But it's been really interesting to learn about apartheid in South Africa and just the racism in that area and how it played out and how it came down. So this is a fascinating read on so many levels. But the reason I also want to bring it up too, it kind of ties in with what I've been up to lately, is he talks about learning, well, not on his own. Like, I think it's like his mom introduced him to all the local languages. So not just his own language, but like the place he grew up had so many different languages. So his mom introduced him to all of them. It's so cool that like he can speak fluently like 4 or 5, maybe 6 languages. And so he was able to walk through all different parts of like there were segregated parts in South Africa, and there was just different places that he would find himself where there could be trouble before apartheid came down, or maybe it was as it was coming down. Anyways, where there's a lot of racism and division between different language groups and different people groups, that like, for example, he was walking down the street and he could hear a group of guys behind him talking in a different language. And they were talking about how they were going to attack him so they could mug him. But he knew what they were saying, and he was starting to get kind of like on edge, of course, and like, okay, I can't outrun these guys. I'm outnumbered. And so what he did is he just decided to like turn around and say in their own language something to them. And it shocks them, and then it makes them laugh because, he said something kind of funny. So it shocks them, and then they're like, oh, sorry, man, we thought you were something else. And so he's making the point, he shares that in a chapter about, isn't it interesting that how we other people based on the language, like someone could look a certain way, but then if they sound like you, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, never mind, you're not what I thought you were, you're good. It's just a very interesting form of racism where people are considered other if they don't speak their language, but if they do speak your language, then suddenly it's like, oh, we're good. So it's very, like, there's so many aspects to his experience and the types of racism that exist. So his mentioning of being able to speak different kinds of languages and how useful that was, also I imagine like building bridges with people, like making a connection because you can speak their language. There's just so many benefits to being able to reach people in their own language. So in reading that is what spurred me on to finally something else cool that another update, even though it's not like this big thing. I have been wanting to learn Arabic for ages. I mean, maybe decades. I mean, I was trying to think like, when did I first think like, oh, I want to do that? Maybe 18 years ago or 16 years ago. It's been a while that I had the thought like, wouldn't that be fun? And so I wanted to do that, and I've literally never done that. And then in 2010, my first year of teaching elementary school, I don't know how many of my viewers know that I used to be an elementary school teacher. So my first year of teaching, I got invited to go with a group of teachers over to Iraq. I always say Iraq, but I know it's Iraq. But also it was Kurdistan, which is a people group. So it was technically in Kurdistan, and helped out with a school there and got to meet people. There were all kinds of languages spoken there, but made friends with people there, and I'm Facebook friends still with some people that I met in Kurdistan. But one of my friends that I keep, we're not in as regular contact anymore, but like her first language is Arabic. And so in the last, maybe it was like 6 years ago or so, I had that feeling of like, I want to learn something again. So I learned a couple more phrases and did audio recordings and sent them to her through Facebook Messenger. And she was so excited. And I was like, oh yes, this is such like, there's a unifying aspect to being able to speak someone's language as well. It's like reconnecting people and having just a beautiful connection with others. And so anyway, and then I just never picked it up again. But then after reading this chapter and being like, wow, how many languages Trevor Noah can speak, and the different situations where he was able to speak other people's languages to them, it's just fascinating. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. And so I am learning Arabic, but it sounds like I'm learning Arabic. I just went on YouTube and like Googled learn Arabic, and I've only listened to the first lesson. I'll link the channel below because maybe you're interested too. So I'm learning Arabic from a YouTuber. Her channel is called Learn Arabic with, I looked it up to see how to pronounce it. Her name is spelled A-S-M-A-E. Asmae? Oh man, I practiced before. Anyway, that's her channel, and I've only been through the first video, and maybe it's having like a midlife aged brain because I think like kids can absorb new languages much easier. But like I've literally re-watched that lesson 1 video many times, and she has like 2 sections, like we're gonna learn this phrase, and then you memorize, like you learn that, and then she's like, now let's learn this phrase, and now let's put it all together. And I literally had to just stop and learn the first phrase and repeat it over and over and over, and then the next day I tried to remember it in my mind and then watch the video over and over and over. So all that to say, I'm learning Arabic slowly. So I learned how to say I want it and I don't want it, and then I learned how to say I want to learn Arabic. So there's the whole phrase of I want to learn Arabic, and I learned how to say it in Arabic, but I don't want to pressure myself to try and remember it right now on video. Anyways, so I'm re-watching those videos over and over and over. So I mean, I'm not really gonna like learn Arabic to where I could like actually maybe have a conversation. I would love to, but just knowing a few phrases here and there I think would be pretty cool. So that's what else I've been up to. So, oh, I also want to catch you up on, I did finish this book. I talked about it in my last video. I hadn't finished it yet, The Great Escape from Woodlands Nursing Home by Joanna Nell. And when I had shared, feel free to go back and check out, I share more about it in more detail in my last video, but in that video I was like, I haven't really gotten to a great escape yet. Like, I hope that's coming. It is called The Great Escape for a reason, and as I mentioned before, it's like, if you missed the last video, it's basically a fictional story of a nursing home and following these characters who are living in the nursing home and their desire to get out of the nursing home to get back to their homes. And that there's like really like comedic, funny, cute, sweet moments. And then there's really serious kind of like sad moments. Very real life for a nursing home in that aspect. And in other ways, like I mentioned before, also the way that they talk is not very realistic, and the way that they speak with each other isn't very realistic for their age and the conditions that they're dealing with, but it's a good story, and there is a great escape, and there are some bittersweet moments. I'll leave it at that, because if you are interested in reading it, I don't want to give, it's not like some giant twist or anything, but it's like, some books are better going into it just like, oh, what's this? You know, and not knowing a ton about it. But do know that there are some sad things, but there's also some really, really sweet things as well. So I do recommend it. I think I gave it like 4 stars. So I haven't had a 4-star read in a while. So I finished The Great Escape from Woodlands Nursing Home, and I am still reading Trevor Noah's Born a Crime. So those are the updates. So we're moving. We know where we're moving to. We just don't know how long we can stay there. It's a downsize. So we're getting rid of things. I was inspired to learn Arabic. Again, I'll link the channel down below that I'm using. And what else do you want to buy my gratitude journal? You can, if you want. I'm selling a gratitude journal. I'll link it below. I have never referenced it that way. Do you want to buy my gratitude journal? It's not an ideal segue. But do you? Because if you do, I'll link it below. It's called The Honest Gratitude Journal. Also, if you are not on a tight budget, you can further support the channel by either making a one-time donation or becoming a member for starting at $2 a month. $2 a month? Whatever. You know what I'm trying to say. It's at my Buy Me a Coffee site. Feel free to check it out. It will also be oh my goodness. This is me well-rested, fully well-rested. It's funny. Anyways, you know what I'm trying to say, and that's all. So, bye. Thanks for watching.